Waiting for the machine to fire up, and there it is. Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is Wednesday, February 12th, 2020. It's 2:44 p.m. here in the Arizona desert. Today, things get interesting. Of course, you probably noticed Bitcoin's doing quite well, but we gotta look at Ethereum. Tether into Ethereum at 3.97 billion last 24 hours. Tether into Bitcoin at 3.27 billion last 24 hours. There's more Tether, what you could say is fiat. I'm going to make that argument. Tether being fiat, or kind of fiat. We're getting more money, more fiat dollars, more dollars into Ethereum the last 24 hours than Bitcoin. That is pretty darn amazing. We ain't seen that in a while. And also, both Ethereum and Bitcoin are over 3 billion last 24 hours, and Ethereum is almost at 3.97 billion. So massive Tether. I'll make the argument massive fiat into Ethereum and Bitcoin last 24 hours, even more so for Ethereum. Wow, game changer, really, really interesting. All right, with that said, volume for Bitcoin last 24 hours, 1,160 million. So 1.1, or let's say $1.2 billion last 24 hours. Really nice volume. Where'd most of that happen? On Binance. So 596 million of that on Binance. And do note, Coinbase here has got 153 million. And I would say, I'm just going to say that I would bet a lot of that is actually fiat into Bitcoin. People buying because they see it pumping. I mean, what else do you do on Coinbase? It's not really an exchange where you trade, unless they're also counting Pro.Coinbase in there. I'm not sure. Anyway, interesting data point. So 1.2 billion volume, massive, and 596 million of that on Binance. So let's look at longs versus short sentiment on Binance. 38% short, 61% long. Nice. All right, looking at the daily chart, well, you probably know what's going on. Bitcoin is pumping. We are well above the 200 moving average and the 314 moving average, so we're doing just great. We are pumping. We have this beautiful upwards channel that we see here, and MACD is definitely wide on the positive side, and beautiful daily chart. Bitcoin is pumping. With that said, let's look at a very, very short time frame, the 45-minute chart, to get a little bit more granular info. All right, this is just looking at from back here around the February 5th, okay, when we first broke the 200 moving average on this short time frame. It's when we really started, our recent pump, in my opinion. So with that said, if you look at the BPVR here, around 9,800, we have amazing, buy-sell volume. And we also have support resistance in the chart. If we look at 10,100, around there, we have amazing buy-sell volume, and we also have support resistance in the chart. And now, note this, up at around 10,300, 10,400, we're definitely starting to see some buy-sell volume rack up there. We definitely are starting to get some support resistance there in the chart. So I do think, just like we had a plateau here at 9,800, we hung out at 10,100 or so, 10,100. Now we are hanging out at 10,300. So it seems like we have found a new support, a new area that we are hanging out. So if we do dump, well, 10,100 is probably going to catch us. And if worst case scenario, well, 9,800 will probably catch us. But it does seem like we are in Lambo mode. And if we do note, we had this little dump here of around 3% plus, and then we had this pump of around 6%, well, actually very quickly around 4%. It does look like exchanges were liquidating the longs, and then the shorts. So they're just making way for some serious volume to roll in, and realize when the exchanges dump you, when they liquidate your longs and liquidate your shorts, well, they make money. With that said, gotta look at Ethereum. I know it's the Bitcoin daily view, but look at Ethereum. What an extraordinary uptrend. This is a short time frame, another 45-minute chart, but still, Directional index is heavy green, very, very powerful. ADX is way up here around 60. We are well above the 200 moving average on this short time frame of the 45-minute chart, and we are rocking. But do note, we're just starting to possibly look at this dump. We may have had our last little spurt of pump, and now maybe we're starting to retrace. That's how much of a percent is that? We pumped about 3%, and now we've just turned around and dumped that. So we shall see. If you're following crypto news, Ethereum has been getting some good news recently, and I think that is to do with this pump, certainly. But also it does appear that as Bitcoin is pumping, it seems to be taking Ethereum with it. That's really, really good news. Anyhow, Ethereum, more Tether in Ethereum than Bitcoin last 24 hours. Something's going on. If you guys had an old bag of Ethereum, I'm sure you're really, really happy. Ethereum is looking good. It's close to this red line you might see here. That's the moving 8 average, and we're hanging out with it, so we're not too above or below it, so I don't see us snapping back to it. This looks like a pretty nice organic trend up. We shall see. I don't think Ethereum's going to retrace unless Bitcoin does. I am a member of Blockchain Education, have been for over 2 years. This is where I learn to make money in bull or bear markets, regardless of Bitcoin's mood given a day or a week or a month or a year, or whether it's altcoin season or not. I tend to make money. And how did I learn a lot of the skills that I have? Right here. There's a link in the description. Click on that. You get a big discount to join. And hey, I'd love to see you there. I'm Cowboy Craig in the chat. Come hang out. Also, if you click on the link, there's an infomercial about it. Maybe infomercial is the wrong word. Let's just say an informational video about blockchain education and all that it offers. Hey, I'd love to see you there. I'm Cowboy Craig in the chat, like I said. With that said, obstacles can't stop you, weather can't stop you, heartbreak can't stop you, failure can't stop you, only you can stop you. And before I sign off, let's just once more look at this. I think we're going to see today possibly as a historic day. We might be remembering this day in crypto throughout 2020 when Ethereum had more Tether volume than Bitcoin. Ethereum, 3.97 billion. You know, if I round that, that's 4 billion. Last 24 hours. Bitcoin, 3.27 billion. I'll round that up to 3.3 billion. Those are amazing numbers. Ethereum is pumping. Bitcoin is pumping. Slight plateau here on the short time frame. Look at the daily though. Beautiful upwards channel. This does certainly look and feel organic. I'm glad you're here for the peaceful revolution, and I'll see you again tomorrow.